you come out with a certain form. God wanted a certain form. He found people who were devils. He wouldn't call us devils because he didn't want to hurt our feelings. That's understanding how to use language. He said, you other than yourself. Well, what's other than God but the devil? There is no in-between of something you can be between these two realities. Just like you can't find something between light and dark. It's either darkness or it's light. So for the minister to be told, if you use the wisdom in the correct way, you'll bring them all into submission, then he's got to be able, in the church you call it speaking in tongues. And the minister said to speak in tongues is to preach a truth that connects with all truth. And when your truth connects with all truth, then even though people are not in your particular fold, they can relate to what you're teaching. That's speaking in tongues. So Master Farad Muhammad, he had to be able, after seeing our thought pattern, how to relate to us. He's got a word that gives life. And the people he's talking to are dead. But if he preaches the word of life, and it's not in the proper language form, then the word of life will pass right by the dead. So studying our thought patterns and our ways and everything, he began to know that even though I got a word of life, I got to speak the word of life in the language of the dead. You're not going to get somebody that's dead up just preaching a language that's foreign to them. And so the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was able to say then, as his student, my mission is to give life to the dead. I preach a word, and that word that was given to me from the life giver, God himself, when I preach it to them and they receive that word, it brings them from a state of death into life. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad proved, if nothing else, that he believed 100% in the man that he met. He believed in his reality as being God, whether we believed it or not. And it's obvious through history that we got to a point that he was able to show that a lot of us really didn't believe he met with God. So what did they do? They had to change the language. And we went away from the vernacular and the language of our own nation, and we went into the language of the said Orthodox Muslim world. Now the lesson says a trader came with an interpretation. And in the interpretation, there was an appeal to the listener. I ain't trying to get you to change the teaching. I'm just trying to get you to look at it the way I look at it. And if you look at it the way I look at it, I promise you that what you get from it, from the understanding that the messenger gave you, if you come to my interpretation of it, my way of looking at it, you're going to come out, you'll be a better FOI and MGT. So a lot of that is happening right now. We're off into different interpretations and everything. But the book says when Abraham and Ishmael prayed the prayer, they didn't pray for somebody who would recite the message and leave you and me to our own interpretation. It says they prayed, give them a messenger. In fact, raise him up from them. He'll know their thought pattern because their thought pattern was his thought pattern before the word of life came. And then not only recite the message to them, but then teach them the book. Why teach them the book? Because we can't leave them to their own interpretation. You're not just to recite the message, but you're to also give them the interpretation of the message. And if they deviate from that, they'll end up speaking a language that can't even reach the dead. So now we say the trader ended up with an interpretation, but attached to the interpretation was a promise that you'd get more gold. You ain't getting the real gusto of Islam until you come to this form of Islam. And brother, when you follow this form of Islam, then you'll really see what Islam is all about. This is the real deal. Yes, sir. Okay, we end up there and there's no gold. What happened? We found ourselves not 6,000 miles, not 5,000 miles, but 9,000 miles away from home. Why 9? Why not 10? Why not 15? Why not? Because 9 is the number of completion. And what it's designed to show is when you become victim to that kind of science, your fall is a complete fall. Now, when you succumb to it and come from Elijah's interpretation, a complete fall, now you don't look nothing like what Elijah Muhammad taught. It's a complete fall. What else happened once you're 9,000 miles away from home? You find out nobody can speak the language. So now every other word is an Arabic word. And you can't reach folk that have been brought up in English, and we don't even speak that well. And you're trying to get the folks that's speaking in English. So what happens to the interpreter? You can't organize people around that kind of language. See, you think you're taking people to a high. Our subject today is about high civilization, because that's the language that comes from the body of lessons that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad even said to us. In order to be successful, in order to see the hereafter, we have to learn these lessons. Without them, we're not going to be. Well, brother, I just followed the teaching. Where do you think the teaching came from? The teaching comes from the lesson program. The master came and he spoke not just symbolic language. He spoke scientific language. He spoke in formulas. And you have to be able to go in a formula and extract from the formula a body of knowledge that people can begin to feed from. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did this. Now, we have taught we're already in a time. And see, in Islam, what you find out, since everything in the universe is in the human form, every law that's operating in the universe is in the human form, so the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches. The universe complements and the universe rewards speed. Being slow and dragging along, you can't get the cooperation of this universe. So once people came to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's teaching it was called quick thinking, because what we found, the white man has designed vessels that he say can break the sound barrier. He's trying to see if he can break a time barrier with speed. But one thing we have found, there is nothing in the universe that travels faster than thought. So the first thing that has to happen to the Negro, he's only called that because the people that gave him that name put him in that condition. Had nothing to do with the color of his skin, had everything to do with the state of his mind. And the state of his mind was death. So when he gets ready to come into this life, first of all, you're not going to reclaim something while you're dead. When you're dead, you reject the thing that you should be reclaiming. We're in the time that the original people should be in a state of reclamation. I'm coming to get what's mine. And I can't get it from the man that took it from me. That's why the Savior came. You've been living under a thief, so he came like one. Even though he's not a thief, he came to get people that have been stolen and lost even from themselves, and as the ministers say, lost from the power that their own nature offers them. So before we can really enjoy being the original people, the first thing you got to do is reclaim your originality. The white man will challenge you. All right, you have gone away from what you were in. You left Elijah. The white man said, we applaud the Islam that you have come into. Sure, because you've made a complete fall now. We like you naming yourself and not waiting for Elijah Muhammad to give you a name. So you're a Sharif or Ali, but you're a bank robber. You're an Abdul, but you're a dope dealer. And you engage in scandalous activity and everything, where this is why the messenger wouldn't put those names on us. Because a name should be lived up to. And it just because he gave you the name doesn't mean you were ready for it. He's pulling out of the attributes of the divine being. But my point is, after the interpretation and a complete fall, we fell away from anything that looked like what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught. Everybody got to arm themselves with a personal attitude. I'm taking back what's mine. This is the time for the original people to reclaim their planet. And you can't reclaim your planet without reclaiming control over your own life. We have to decide that we're going to be over our own life. It's called a spirit of self-determination. Well, who gave you permission? I gave myself permission. In the name of a God now who has freed me from waiting on the Caucasian.
Dear woman in the audience, black women, white women, Chicano women, women, do you know who you are? No, you don't know. Do you think that you are measurements? I'm 36, 23, and 36. What does that mean to you? You got a fine frame. Isn't that beautiful? So what does that make you? Does that make you a thing? Shake that thing. Give me that thing. Excuse me, brothers and sisters, I'm not trying to be funny. I want your thing. What are you saying? You've been reduced to nothing, to a thing, to a piece of meat. And just like a wise person that goes to a meat store says, bring that meat out from in the counter. Let me see what I'm getting here. And you turn it over, turn it over. Now that's the one I want. Weigh it up, I'll take it. This is what women have become. Women are too important to be allowed to be degenerate. Do you know who you are? Each woman is more than flesh. She is created by the Creator in such a magnificent way that she is a replication of the womb of creation. Listen, 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 listen. The woman is the replication of the womb out of which Allah said, be, and created sun, moon, stars, and all things. But from the womb of a woman, if God's hand is over that womb, you can, with the help of God, produce a Genghis Khan, a Napoleon, a Hitler, or you can produce a Jesus, a Muhammad, and a God. It's up to you. Yes. You are more than what they tell you you are. So much more than what they tell you you are. There will never be respect for life until we respect the womb that produces life. And as long as women are used and abused in any society, as long as women are denied their proper and rightful place, then men will never be what we should be, because a woman is the first teacher and the first nurse and the evolver of the race.
When he broke away from Mr. Muhammad, because he wrote the book while with Mr. Muhammad.
My pleasure to be in the home of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, leader of the Nation of Islam, Muslims in America. Mr. Muhammad, I have a series of questions I'd like to ask you concerning the Nation of Islam, about the Muslims in America. And I'd like to start off by asking, I think, to once again to reinforce the many things that we've heard about the Muslims, that precisely when the Muslim started in America, who started the Muslim movement in America, and how long ago has it been?
We started in 1931. Actually, we are not organizers of Islam. It was God himself in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praises is due, of whom the Bible and Holy Quran predicted. Master Farad Muhammad taught me Islam, and that was not with the word joining that was used. After he taught me who we were, it was not the question of joining, but accepting myself and what I had lost of myself by being kidnapped by the white people and brought to this part of the earth.
What you're saying is that Islam is basically the true religion for black people.
It is the very nature of them. It's not a religion. Islam, we refer to it as a religion. And that's the Holy Quran. I give to you, God says there, a religion. I have completed my favor upon you and choose for you Islam as a religion. Not that it's a religion. It's the nature of us.
Well, then also that leads me to the question then that do you feel that the relationship between the African and Africa, the blacks in Haiti and Jamaica and America, this would be one and the same? They're all brothers, aren't they?
Every black man under the sun is brothers. I don't care whether he live in America or live in Asia or Africa or in the islands of the Pacific or the Gulf.
Mr. Muhammad, in another area, it's been said that the Muslims in America, and I'm speaking primarily of the black, generally do not participate in politics. Now, is this something that is true, or do Muslims participate in politics as a voter, as a participant, as an elected official?
Muslims have politics, as you know. In the Islamic world, they have government, and all government have politics. But the politics of the Muslims is different from the white people's politics. In a way, they base their politics on the Quran, the law. They get it from Quran to run their government. Here in America, we are not yet an independent people here owning any land at all that we can collab on. This is what we are asking for. We're asking for land of our own.
Well, do you feel, excuse me, did you feel that, I was speaking primarily when you mentioned the black man in America should find some place where he could set up his own nation. I was thinking of a large area where all of us could go to be in the nation of Islam.
You find that on the last page of Muhammad Speak newspaper, where that we have learned that we cannot get along with the white man in peace, and the white man have the privilege to separate us. But instead, the more we want to be separated from him, the more he wants to gobble us up. And you excuse the word gobble, but the more he wants to swallow us up in his power. He don't want the black man out of his sight. He's afraid of you going to yourself. But this is the only way he could exist. Now, because this days of separation has come divinely.
To the black men and women who follow the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the nation of Islam is a way of life. To them, it is the nation of common sense.
Mr. Muhammad teaches me this thing. Muhammad, be out, my brother. Purchase the tradition. Muhammad speaks newspaper. Get a hold of yours. It's yours today, brother. Muhammad speaks.
View on the state of the youth nowadays.
We are without the knowledge of ourselves. You know why? What our problem exists? We refuse to come to the Nation of Islam, follow the program of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which is our salvation. Minister Farrakhan and the nation is going to be successful whether we come and join or not. Allah will replace us with somebody that will do the work.
tell him how it cleans him up.
Yeah. Malcolm was was a number runner. Dealt drugs, all kind of other stuff. You know, so only thing that reformed him and cleaned him up is the program of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. All of us. You should hear some of the stories of the members of the Nation of Islam. We didn't fall down from heaven. We came up from out of the hells of these streets, brother. Yeah, a lot of us get an education. We think we're going, that education screwed us up. Willie Lynch, a whole lot of other stuff. Come on, it's time for us to wake up, brother. Nothing is going to be successful but the Nation of Islam, the program of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad under the leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And his spirit, just like my spirit is, you can take that or you can leave it alone. I'm doing what I'm doing, save my backside. I know what the nation did for me.
Let me ask you a quick question real quick. What's your view on Obama?
Obama, he's just another black man. He too got to come to the program. He being used. He was selected before he was elected.
Wow.
Come on, man. We're going to study, do research. If you want to hide something from black people, put it in a book. May Allah bless you.
Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam, Lord.
This